It's 4:00.
Yes, sir.
Happy hour. We're ready to call a meeting to order. Of course, first thing is always establishing a quorum, which we have because we got four board members present.
And my neighbor said he posted it on the door in the laundry room.
Well, very good. So we should be covered there.
I'll make a motion to approve the previous 9-5 minutes as they waiving the reading as they were sent out to everyone, posted on Google Drive and YouTube.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes waived. They're online, as Mark said, and as we always say. So first agenda item is old business. First old business item is the repitch and Galloway roofing. As far as
Go ahead.
As far as I know, Galloway is happy on waiting on the money until the warranty is in our hand, and they're working with GAF to get that to us. I don't have any updates other than that. Daniel wasn't in the meeting last month.
I reached out to him, and no response from them. And then I reached out to GAF also. So I guess I learned most of the time 10% is normal for retaining until the warranty. Apparently it should have been 25 or 30%. And then we would
to make them do something, right? But
right.
At any
So
rate,
I
at
guess
this
I
point,
learned.
the money's they're not looking for it. They're not asking for it. They know it's part of the contract that they need to supply
Exactly.
the warranty.
Exactly.
And, it's a non-issue.
Right.
So anybody else want to talk about that? We'll carry that on until we do hear from the GA with our warranty, hopefully. I have some I want to talk about later when we get to the budget, but we'll move on. Number 2 is the erosion behind Unit 49, and I see Zelda Claire is on the line.
And Arnold is joining as we speak.
There we go.
Greetings, Arnold. You haven't missed anything.
Excellent.
Just the basics. Unless you want to talk about the repitch of the roof, that we're just waiting on GAF to supply the warranty. And at this point, Galloway's happy with waiting on their money until we get that. So number 2 was just moving on to it. Erosion behind 49, where Claire had said she was going to get some quotes from some people somewhere along the line. We are going, this is old business from a couple months ago. Claire, any update?
You told me that it wasn't the board's responsibility, so no.
Well, and you said that you would get some estimates, so I thought that's where we had left it. But okay. Next thing on the old business is leaking lanai roofs. We did, this is old business. We discussed it last month. I'm not sure we came up with anything, or we were waiting on Galloway again. Anybody want to refresh my memory on why we're still talking about the lanai roofs leak?
I reached out to Galloway because you mentioned that I should get an estimate. No response. So I talked to Leo about it. So I need to reach out to him again. And I think after reaching out to him one more time, I'll look for someone else to give us an estimate. So maybe they're not interested.
I mean, I guess looking at the old notes, we did get a quote from Galloway for $15,000, I guess, right? To seal all 15 units.
Yes, I think the issue was we were leaving this until the 2026 budget because there wasn't anything in 2025 for it.
Okay. All right.
Money, no.
So there's no sense in it. Wasting time reaching out to him on that anymore.
The next old business item was the house numbers, which again,
I was gonna, well, hold on, I have a thought on that. So if we're gonna spend $1,000 a roof for something that might last 2 years versus $100,000 to replace all the lanai roofs for $6,600 a roof, which lanai roofs are really leaking right now that need to be repaired? And can we budget? I mean, when we get down to number 7, can we talk about how much money we have left over, what the priorities are, and then maybe discuss budgeting for new lanai roofs in the future rather than throwing money away right now for something that's only going to last for a year or two for a couple roofs that may or may not be leaking because of maybe window issues or we just
So I'll let you finish.
go ahead.
No, I'm not in disagreement with you. The lanai roofs leaking have always been something and like not really a big issue of mine. You know, I don't keep anything out there that can't get wet. It's an outdoor room, is what I try to keep saying. You know, do I like the roof leaking? No, I don't like it leaking. They all need to be replaced. They all need to be replaced because people have walked on them. The only one that probably doesn't need to be replaced is Sandy's unit, and that's because the previous owner put a double roof on it and foamed in between the 2 layers. But you know, that said, the roofs need to be replaced, and spending $1,000 a unit to seal them is a Band-Aid. It's not the root cause. We're not going for the root cause. It was, you know, supposed to be a cheap Band-Aid.
So can we discuss it when we get to the number 7 and 8 to figure out what
So-
money we have and what we need to budget for and how long it'll take to save the money to get new lanai roofs?
I think that's really why the board, you know, meets and gets together, is to do exactly what you're talking about. I kind of wanted to get through the flood, and we're basically through the flood now, before we started talking about everything else we want to do. But one of the first things we should do is make that wish list. You know, what is priority? You know, I think most of us think the windows are probably priority over lanai roofs.
Correct. But that's when we go down to 7 and 8.
Yeah, it might be. I got bad news for you when we get there, but we're not there yet. So, yeah, I think we need to talk about the lanai roofs more. It might be in the budgeting process, but the budget is supposed to be for things that happen annually, not for long-term capital projects other than what you're putting into reserves. Could we start putting money into reserves for a long-term capital project? I don't know the answer to that. You know, that's something
I
David.
thought it was for long-term projects.
Yes, that's what it's for.
It is
Well-
for roofs, for
Reserves are. But our budget is supposed to be what gets us through. It's supposed to be things that we pay for every single year. Now, we can add to that we're going to start paying for a reserve line like we do for the roofs and the parking lot and the painting. We could have a reserve line that we could start funding for windows or lanai roofs or hurricane deductibles or just about anything we want to dream up. But the budget itself, I look at a little bit differently as far as what David sent out for review. That's an annual budget. Things that come up every single year, recurring. Things that you know,
you have to
like the
budget for
insurance,
replacing the
like the
roof.
water. Right. as a long-term capital reserve line. So
And
we would
that-
need to make a capital reserve line, is the way I understand the budgeting process on that. But we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves because
Okay,
we haven't gotten to discussing the budget yet. So that's Lanai roofs. Can we move on? Anybody else want to talk about Lanai roofs? Okay. So the next old item business is the house numbers. I think we put the house numbers to bed. Right? Mark and I are supposed to do that when we get down there.
Yes.
Yep.
Just, it's on the list so we don't forget it. That's all.
Okay. Till it gets done.
Yes.
All right. South building not being trimmed. I'm hoping that's been rectified. I haven't spoken to any, I've spoken to US Lawns and they said that they would make sure the guys got back there and got rid of the overgrowth. Can anybody confirm that? Zelda, that's behind your place.
I'm not there very often, so I can't confirm anything.
Okay. Does anybody know if it looks better than it did last month? I all I can say is I had a conversation with Gene at US Lawns that the people in the building thought the back of that building was being neglected and could the guy spend a little extra time? And he responded that he will assure that the crew will spend extra time behind that building.
I'm gonna pop in tomorrow, so I'll take a look and get back to you.
Great, appreciate that. But hopefully no complaints is a good thing. Maybe there's nothing to complain about. The next item is the sprinkler system and it running in the rain. That again was mentioned to Gene and hopefully been rectified, but there's nobody there to confirm nor deny. Okay, so next is Jody to show the monthly report for outstanding invoices.
And I sent all the board members a PDF of that yesterday.
And
Yeah.
I did send, Mark,
Yes.
I did send you for Shane, redoing my bottom steps that were damaged from the
we got
storm.
that.
Okay, so we'll deal with it.
Reimbursement. That's something a little different. We're not there yet.
What's that?
You're
I
saying you
didn't-
submitted for reimbursement for the bottom steps?
Yes, sir.
It's on that list.
We got
Danny.
it.
Okay. Thank you.
The hell?
So if I understand, after all the bills are paid, up to date, according to your email, Mark, there is some money left over.
Let me do a screen share here. One moment. Share. And
But this doesn't include what we owe to WSV for their final payment, correct?
okay, first question. Can everybody see a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking for and I just found it.
There you go.
I can't zoom into it though. Oh, yes, I can. I got it.
Rob, do you want to go over these? The only thing that she did wrong, in my opinion, is this should be accounts payable aging detail.
Right. So I mean, if I'm not 100% sure on how to read it myself, but
Well, let's just go over the line items. One at a time.
it appears to me that what she's saying is we have $132,664.75 in outstanding invoices that we will have to pay.
In her hands. Slightly, and all the notes say how that would be adjusted.
Right. So some of that might be adjusted. So let's just say there's 132,000 left for us to pay out. Okay. And we could go over it line item. but that doesn't include the rest of our reimbursements that we're married to. I know.
Yeah, it says at the bottom, the reimbursements were down to stairs. So
Well,
26,
other than my unit, we
And I
might
say
not.
Rob's unit, we still have Rob's units outstanding and then stairs for everybody else.
okay, good point. Thank
So
you.
at any rate, let's not even talk about the reimbursements. Let's just talk about the 132,000 that we have left outstanding. If you look at our most recent financial statement from August, at the end of August 31st, we had 241,000 in total money in the bank. Okay, but out of that 241,000, 68,500 is long-term reserve money that we had well before the flood and have been putting away since. But if you look at the reserve schedule, we should have 68,500 right now. So if you take the 68 out of the 241, that leaves 172. If you take 132 out of the 172, that leaves 39.9. So we have, in my mind, about $40,000 in surplus. And again, that doesn't include my reimbursements, stairs, and whatever else we have left.
Does that include the WSB final payment?
Yeah, well, that's what she's got there, that Mark's showing on the screen.
Okay, because I can't scroll.
Yeah, it's for some of it, it's 111. Some of it's the invoices seem to all be there. But that's the way I crunch the numbers at this point right now. So no, there's not a whole lot of surplus. I never thought there was going to be a whole lot, and I might be wrong, but if she's saying we got 132 and the bank accounts are correct where we got 240. Now, that said, I do notice in the reserves lines that we still have $20,000 in the South Building reserve. We had agreed to use that money to pay for the repitch. So obviously they paid for the repitch out of other money. So we could move almost 20,000, not all of it. We'd have to reserve it since it was repitched. But we could reset that reserve line to zero, more or less, and go for the 20-year life. And, we might be able to spend another 10 or 20,000 from there.
Excuse me for a second. First, we have somebody new who's joined on the phone, 941-283. Who is that?
Oh, that's weird.
Mystery person.
Okay, well, mystery person, you need to let us know who you are.
Sandy.
Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Hello, Sandy.
And then someone's got
Hello.
a TV or something playing in the background.
I do.
That's got to be off, please.
Oh, you got it.
Is this the time to talk about our priorities?
That's probably more new business. We're still
Okay,
kind of I mean, it might be. And I mean, we do jump around a lot.
Well, Rob, if I could just say something, I
Yeah.
did the same back of the envelope. And as I said in that email, I believe that I sent out to the board yesterday, I see between 50 and 70. But you said 40. I mean, we're in the same ballpark. The point is we don't have 150 left over to do the windows, which has been my priority since day one.
Right. No, we don't have that. And some good news that I don't know that the rest of the board even after we agreed to pay the bill to Right Way last month, the following Friday, I got an email from them saying that they were willing to give us a discount on the bill, so long as we paid it in full by the 30th. So I called Palmer, and lo and behold, they hadn't written the check yet. So
Good.
rather than writing the check for 16,000 and change, they accepted the 6,000 and change, giving us a $10,000 discount.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we
Robert, you rule.
are 10,000 up there,
Mhm.
which is
You
a plus.
helped. Yeah, well, you fought that battle and you won.
Yeah,
Good
how about
job. Good job.
that? So at any rate, that was just a little good news I wanted to spend, but it's not helping us move on. So
Can I ask you a question? This is Paul.
yeah, go ahead, Paul.
One of the footnotes says there's a $967.30 bath duplicate. I have no idea what that's referring to.
Yeah,
We evidently paid WSV twice for that bath.
so that's just our accounting. You don't have to worry about it.
Okay. I just want to make sure I don't owe anybody $967.30.
No, well, I mean, I don't believe that to be the case.
No.
No, sir.
Okay.
All right. So basically, we were discussing Jody's report on what we have left to pay. The next item is the 226 budget.
Can I jump in here, Rob?
Yes.
We currently pay $266 a month per unit, or I'm sorry, $666 per month per unit for 2025. David's first budget that he sent to us was that in order to cover all of our bills in 2026, that should be raised to $690 a month per unit. I told David that I would not vote for that raise. However, I'm only one vote. But keep in mind that what 690, as Rob said earlier, what $690 says is if you take 690, multiply it by 15, and multiply it by 12 months, 15 units in 12 months, what you've essentially got is a pot of money that would pay for all of the items that we predict will need to pay in 2026. That's where we're starting. Now the board has to make a decision. Are we satisfied with that? Do we want to stay with that 690, or do we want to start to slide that number down? And I can tell you that every dollar that you slide down from 690, you slide down $180 total. So for example, if you went from 690 to 680, you'd be $120 times or $180 times 10 would be $1,800 that would have to come out of our savings essentially. But that's, I think, the first decision that we need to make, because David needs to be able to give us a budget for 2026. And that is, what are we going to, as a board, recommend that the unit owners pay per month for their HOA dues in 2026?
So 690 covers all of our expenses for next year.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would we reduce it?
Because that's a giant increase. In my opinion, it's really not. It's 25 bucks. But it is what it is.
Correct.
So I
Everything
mean,
increases. Why would we reduce it if
so
and not cover all of our expenses?
Now he's talking about pulling money out of the reserve to cover that delta, so we prevent a rise for 1 year.
We
That-
don't pull money out of the reserves. The reserves are for
Reserve.
reserve.
You know, when
To be
the
hon- to be
word
honest-
reserve, excuse me, I'll jump in here. The word reserve gets thrown around. We have two reserves, if you will. Let's call one reserves, and that's the one when we think about the long-term reserves for the roofs and things like that. But we also have savings. That's money that we didn't spend after all of the hurricane. So I think as we speak, as we go forward, let's use the difference between savings and reserves, because savings we can spend.
So
Surplus.
savings can go towards the windows that we desperately need.
Absolutely.
Surplus.
That's why the board makes the decision here. Do we want to spend and $5,000 out of savings to keep the monthly dues the same as they are, or do we want to increase the monthly dues to $690 and leave that $4,000 or $5,000
So-
in the savings?
Do you fellow board members have this with you or in front of you? That's David's budget
No.
for the year. Mark, can you pop that up on the screen?
I can. It will take me a moment here, but I will be
So-
happy to do that.
I mean, the proper way to do this is going to be to go over it line by line and see if we can cut. Now, I will tell you, I've done this 20 times for this association. It's a bare bones budget. There's really no cutting from it, unfortunately. You know, all throughout the season, people were asking us to do things that we didn't have budgeted. Clean the gutters, pressure wash the side of the building, you know, clean up debris. That, you know, some of those things, and we can discuss it line item, but you know, we have a repairs and maintenance line that we had budgeted $15,000 for, and we spent 30. You know, I would have to ask them, let's break down that 30. What did we do? I think some of that is the repitch of the roof. So, you know, what did we do? Repairs and maintenance for 15,000. That's an annual recurring thing. You know, that should be the pressure washing. That should be the cleaning of the gutters. That should be, in my opinion, those kinds of things. It should be if we find a window with window rot, but not replacing all the kitchen windows. But all right, so the yellow line, the yellow is what he's saying the payment should be, but let's drop down, forget about the income. Let's go to the expenses because that's what we can change. The first line is pest control. All right, it costs each unit $11 a year and 11 cents for pest control. It's a penny line, but you know, we had talked about increasing the pest control, not decreasing. So, you know, do we want to increase the pest control line and deal with more pests? I can't say I've seen any pests. I think what we're doing well, and I wouldn't mess with that budget line. Postage and delivery, I don't think we can do much about that. That's on David's business end, but 42 cents a unit a year, a month isn't all that much. $5 a unit a year. Bank fees, nothing we can do about that. Management fees. He's budgeting no increase in his management fees over last year. Do we want to shop for a new manager? It's only going to cost us more. Last time we looked, it was the base is usually 500 per unit per month or per year. So again, I would leave that line alone. If I move too fast for anybody, hold me up. Legal fees, we don't have a lot of legal problems, but we need to budget some so that we have a lawyer to ask when we need to. We spent 800 of our 1,000. I would leave it. Filing fees, nothing we can do about that. Corporate reports, accounting. All right, so now we're starting, repairs and maintenance. $1,000 per year per unit, or $84 a month of your payment.
Last year, we budgeted 15 and spent 30.
Right, but I think David said some of that 30 was the repitch of the roof,
Ah,
which, that skews the numbers. We replaced all the kitchen windows. That cost a lot more than 30. I don't know where he put those numbers, He's not here to answer for himself there. Did we spend 15,000 on actual repairs and maintenance? We need to look at that line. So
Yeah,
that's a line
we need to get a break out of that one.
we might be able to, do something there. $250 budgeted for the laundry room. That's pretty low for what happens in there. We usually always spend that. Water. It surprises me that with the building empty for most of the year that we still came so close to our full budget on water. But that said, I have heard that the water district there has approved, I believe, a 15% increase every year for the next 5 years for upgrades to their system.
Mm.
That's substantial if that's true. But the water bill right now currently is what the water bill is, and I don't think we have much wiggle room on that. He is going from 14.5 to 16, so he must have heard about somewhat of an increase.
I don't have my calculator, but it looks like from 14.5 to 15.2 or to 16 would be that 5-10%, 15%.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that's-
he's on top of it there at least, but there's not much we can do about
It's just a
that. I mean,
monthly.
could we
Which I
cut
think
out
some
irrigating
gas
the
and-
place and save on the water bill? I guess we could. I remember the place when it didn't have water. It wasn't very pretty. I don't know what it'll do for people's resale. I don't know. Any further discussion? Electric, there's nothing we can do about the electric bill, as the water for the most part. Insurance, that's the big one for everybody. Thank God we had it, or we wouldn't be having this discussion today. Tree trimming, that might be a line that's short, if anything. Trimming of the mangrove in the back, just for him to look at it, I think it costs us $250. So if we want to be realistic, that line's going up. Lawn services, again, we could shop them. Last time we shopped them, they were the cheap guys. They haven't really had substantial increases over the years. We can't not have the grounds trimmed, so. Contingency non-paying customers, or he's totally cut that budget line. We used to have a contingency line. Contingency are people that don't pay their maintenance fees or don't pay them on time. It's money so that we have operating money. So, I mean, that's pretty much the whole budget. That part of the budget comes out to, for rough numbers, $600. $597 is that part of the budget. The other $100 is our mandatory reserve lines. There's the only thing we can do with the reserve lines is reallocate funds to fund some items and not others. But the state says we have to fully fund, so we have no choice. $100 a month per unit for reserves. So all that said, does everybody understand the budget?
Yes, and a $24 or $25 increase is nothing compared to other associations. It's minimal.
Yeah, and I don't know how our full payment compares to other associations. I don't really want to compare ourselves to other associations. Last year,
They're not equal.
my argument was I didn't want to raise the rates drastically. And I don't know, not have, I didn't want to just go across the board and increase every single line equally if we weren't going to spend the money there. I think these budgets should be made to where you're going to be spending the money. Otherwise, they do get out of control. So, I don't want to say, let's just raise it $25. What line do you want to raise $25? The building maintenance line, I would assume.
I think you mean what line items do you want to cut? Because essentially, if we want to stay at 666 or 665, I think psychologically the better number. It means we gotta find $5,000 in this budget to cut. Where do we find $5,000 to cut?
Well, if we like, I mean, his payment on this is 660, right? This budget that I just went over, his final payment is 660.
That was the second budget, yes.
Oh, I don't have the right one.
No, this was the first one he sent, and then there was a
I'm looking at
second
the
one.
one that you have now up on the screen. I wasn't even looking at that one. I was looking at the one. So what did he change?
I don't think he changed anything. I think he just, as I said earlier, we were
He
going
did.
to take that extra $5,000 out of our savings.
Oh, he ate it.
Wouldn't building maintenance cover painting the front of the building, which we desperately need also?
Well, we
Painting.
have a reserve line for painting right
For
now.
that, okay.
Right now, we have $16,499 in it.
All right.
We're estimating that it's going to cost $25,000 to paint the building, which means we need another $8,000 to do it.
So where do we get, how do we fund that reserve?
Well, if we want to fully fund that line and paint the building, to be honest with you, what I would do at this point is move the money that we've already spent for the roof repitch, instead of putting it into the general fund, put it into that fund and fully fund it. Then
Oh,
we
we
would have,
can't paint till we do the windows.
I agree.
yeah, it's probably not the smartest thing to do. But how can we raise money to do windows?
A special assessment.
Yes. Yes, I mean, that's something that, we haven't spoke of since Ian was the last time I think we had an assessment, and that was for the hurricane deductible, which is another thing that, could be a reserve line, because a hurricane deductible would smack everybody pretty good. We didn't have that with the flood. We were very lucky, but the deductible for a hurricane is hundreds of thousands instead of just tens. But
So we got an estimate to replace all the upstairs windows. How much was that?
I don't have that number.
Approximately. Does anybody remember?
It was around 100,000.
So that would be about 6,600 a unit less. Well, there's,
Some of the units have already been done, such as mine. And
Yeah,
hopefully,
and everybody wants to be reimbursed, so you can't just look at what's left. You got to take the whole price tag into account. So you got to count every window, even though we're not replacing them. Everybody's gonna have their hand out looking for their money back.
So, well, we have to do a special assessment for to the,
I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just saying you don't need to spend the money.
Well, what do you mean?
oh, I see.
I said you need to account for each one that needs to be done, not the ones that don't need to be done. And you can save all that money and don't reimburse them. And there you save a lot of money, like mine.
Each person does their own, is what you're
Well,
saying.
but-
No, I said I already did it. I'm not looking for a reimbursement. Only thing I want to reimburse is for
Yeah,
my
but
staff.
you will when we assess you to replace everybody else's window. Why would you want to pay for yours and everybody else's?
I shouldn't have to be paying for someone else's.
Well, no,
Okay.
but if we do a special assessment, everybody's going to be paying. We can't just assess.
So then I guess I will want a reimbursement the way you put it there.
Yeah,
You would get reimbursed.
Yeah, I will get reimbursed. Okay.
I mean, you're going to get reimbursed out of your own pocket, so to speak. You're going to, but nobody's going
Right,
to.
I should,
If
okay.
we do an assessment, it's for 15 units. If we're doing an assessment for 15 units for 10 windows, let's say, everybody's going to pay for those 10, and the reason you'll get back whatever we're paying to put them in. Right?
All right. I see your point.
That's kind of the way it's always been
I got it.
thought about anyway.
I got it. So-
I'm not saying that is the way it's going to go. That's just the way I've always had it in my mind. And,
Okay.
if I do replace my windows before it becomes an assessment, yeah, I kind of want reimbursement.
Right. So do I. Okay. I got it. All right.
I'm sorry. Am I allowed to ask a question?
You can ask a question, sure.
I love this discussion. It's really transparent and I appreciate that. So are we saying that we are going to get new windows?
No.
We're
No,
not saying
not.
that yet, discussing it.
Not now.
So that's not something that we think it
We're
will happen.
discussing that we are in the discussion of the possibility of doing a special assessment for new windows.
Okay.
But we are in the very early stages of that discussion, really.
So when you say early stages, when will the final stage take place?
I'm not done with the discussion yet. Rose has said stuff and I've said stuff.
Okay, just curious. Just want to know if I should get my windows done like in the next year or wait for
Well,
you.
if you're listening to the conversation, if you get your windows done, right now the board is laying towards reimbursing you for that when we do the special assessment.
But I also know that if we do it collectively, we'll also all pay less.
That could very well be, yes.
I can tell you much less. I had mine done. They were close to 15,000.
Mm.
So, I mean, we're going off the top of our head too. I don't know what the actual number is. It might be low. I mean, it does sound a little
It
low.
would pay to wait. Definitely would pay to wait.
Should we
Yes.
start getting bids?
If the board decides that they want to move forward, one of the first things to do would be to get bids. I mean, really, to discuss it properly, we should know what numbers we're talking about. But if we do a special assessment, do we want to do a special assessment just for the windows? Or do we want to knock a couple things off of our list? Because, with all the legalities in doing the assessments, you don't want to keep doing them, So if there's other things we want to do, which brings us back to that wish list that we were talking about before.
Right.
Obviously, Windows is number one on the wish list. What would number two be?
Lanai roofs.
Well, painting the building,
We should have a budget line for the building. That shouldn't be a special assessment.
Yeah, I
well,
don't.
it doesn't cover the whole building.
I
It-
think we
well,
I mean,
can.
it
will-
doesn't cover the whole painting.
So here's,
Not if we
we
want
don't
to
have
do
all
it.
the information in front of us, but we also need to look at what the roof reserve fund is. I think it may be too high now. We have two new roofs. We have a warranty on one. We should look at what that delta is between what we have now and what it should be. That's got to be evaluated. So there's ways we can get other monies, but we don't have the total. I like to get everything with the hurricanes paid out and see what's left, so we have a true baseline how much money we have.
So, to speak on Arnold's point, right now, the replacement cost on the roof is $80,000 is what he's projecting, it would be in 20 years. Right now, we have 8,000 on the one building, the north building, leaving another 71 to go. And, he's got the wrong, he says that we have 19 on the south roof, meaning we only have 60 to go. But if we take that money out, we're gonna have to fund it more. So we could use that money as an offset, because we haven't spent it and we're supposed to spend it. So it could be used as the 5,000 offset to keep the payment down to the 660 from the 690. But what are we at now? 666?
That's the current, yes.
So I wouldn't go down to 660 for sure. I wouldn't go any lower than where we're at, because there's nowhere to cut. We're only going up.
I mean, in Rose's point, I'm fine with going up to the 690. I would like to just move that money or what we find over to cover the delta in the paint dollars we need to paint the building. You know, but because special assessments, we need to make sure we know exactly what we want to do. And I'm with Rob, we do one. I don't want to do one year after year. I mean, people don't have money just sitting around all the time ready to pour extra in.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
So the priority is windows, painting, lanai roofs. What else?
The electrical boxes, enclosing them.
Is that really a priority?
Well, it could be at the bottom of the list.
I only call it a priority for two reasons. Number one is because right now they look like you know what.
Be right back with you guys.
And number two, if they're enclosed properly, that could increase the likelihood of them surviving a flood. Instead of having plywood, we could get a quote for an enclosure that would be made out of brick, or that would actually ensure that they could survive some level of flooding. Right now, I think the electrical boxes, and we know how much it costs to replace them because we've been through this once. But if the water went over 2 feet, I mean, we'd have to go through that whole thing again, where the electrical boxes got cut off and had to be replaced, and people didn't have electricity. But if those were sealed properly, we could have survived the 4-foot flood and not have had a problem with our electrical boxes. I'm just making that point.
Got
I'm
it.
not saying it's a priority. I'm just making that point.
Is there anything else that needs to be addressed?
Uh,
That,
Well, and I'll just throw this out. Rob had said changing the screens.
oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think so. Windows, painting, lanai roofs, and then I think lanais themselves, not just rescreening. I hate the brown cages on the building now. The electrical cabinets, I can see some significance on there. I still think it's a lower priority.
All right, I'm going to make this list. So I'm going to put this in the under new business, so we have this list in an official place. Number one was windows. What was number 2?
Painting, lanai roof, electrical, enclosure, screens and lanai cages.
So I guess step one would be to go out and solicit prices on each item. Some of them we have. We can look back. Some of them we don't. We don't know what it'll cost to paint the building. Lanai roofs or lanai's period. I think we need front and back.
I would
At least-
agree. If you
at
do one,
least-
do both.
Yeah, at least to discuss. So
Hmm.
the electrical cabinets, it's a tricky one. It's kind of aesthetics. You know, they are made to go outside, so I'm not so concerned with the weather. Of course, anything out of the weather is going to last that much longer and be that much better. The way they are, I don't know how we hide them. Need a designer.
Well, we either enclose them expensively so that they're flood resistant. We enclose them cheaply in wooden boxes and paint them, or we just clean up around them, because right now they just have broken concrete around them. And that would be something I think should be cleaned up and made nicer before we go through painting.
Yeah, I think it's a before a painting thing. We, you know, at least some kind of a decision on it. If it is just cleaning up the concrete,
Okay, so I'm putting this in the minutes as a wish list. Windows, painting, lanai roof, electrical enclosures, and screen lanai cages. We're not going to make a decision right now. I can say, you know, we're saying we need budget items. We know windows are big. We know we're at $100,000 for that. Painting, we know it's going to be $25,000, and we know that we'd have to move money. Lanai roofs, we know we're at $1,000 a piece to cover them. We had a quote for lanais at one time. It was $150,000 to
Well, you're
replace
early.
all the lanais.
Yeah.
Someone's got
I doing my little
a
workout.
conversation going on in the background. Can you
So
stop,
I got
please?
back.
which is 10,000.
Edmund.
right?
That color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
Electrical enclosures, don't know. Screens, lanai cages, I paid a few $1,000s to have all my screens replaced. And I think I paid $3,000 to have the whole back lanai replaced, the screen wall, because I just did that. So if you want to say 3,000 times 15 is what?
45.
Yeah, $50,000. I mean, we're just doing back of the envelope numbers here, so everyone has an idea of what this kind of stuff costs. We have in the past made our contractors a little bit frustrated because we ask for them to go to the trouble to make budgets and then we never do anything with them. So I'd like us to get multiple bids for things we're serious on. I just think that's the polite thing to do.
In the deal with windows, and I deal with windows, obviously, common sense tells us they have to be exact. We should write the specs for the windows. And the kind, because they vary drastically. I mean, obviously, they're going to be hurricane-proof windows, of course. But a lot of different other specs will be involved with them. So we need to get like a spec sheet, decide what we want, and then put that out for bid. So we have equals.
Well, that's true. To compare apples to apples, we should have that anyway, just for people when they want to replace them on their own. we should have some kind of specs of what we require.
Exactly.
Yeah, they
Um,
should be uniform. I mean, that's the.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
We don't want someone putting in windows, obviously they're not hurricane proof, creates a vacuum in the building, they break, and then they can cause everything else to damage next door, obviously. And the roof too, the air goes up, everything's about problem.
Plus aesthetics, right? It takes value within the building.
Exactly.
One looks different than the other.
Aesthetic too.
Yeah.
Right, so they should all be kind of uniform.
The thing I
And
have
they-
to say I like about windows is twofold. Number one is, yes, for the safety and the fact that they're hurricane resistant, that will also decrease our insurance.
It
Because
will
then we
about
will have
20%.
in hurricane proof windows for the entire building. The next thing is we have places, and Claire comes to example, where it's tough to know whether she's had leaks in the past, and not just her, whether the leaks came off the roof or the windows. And we know there's going to be rotted wood behind some of those windows. It would be
Especially,
super
Mark,
helpful. Go ahead.
especially Mark, the way the building is designed with zero overhang. Zero overhang. So the back windows, front windows, it might appear that water's coming in around the window itself, but then you have to look. We've had those situations. You have to see whether is it from the roof or is it from the windows or what. So because of our poor, the way the building was designed with zero overhang, that had an overhang and the water was leaking outside, we would know it's not the window, obviously.
So I'm just making arguments for why windows should be a priority. It
Yeah,
is
they're number
on
one.
my mind.
They're definitely number one, of course.
I think, Rob, that the first thing we have to decide here, we eat this elephant one bite at a time. And I think the board is all here, and I think the board has to make a decision of what the 2026 HOA dues should be.
So
You can make that decision today, or we can put it off for a month. But I think we need to make that decision first.
Well, I recommend we wait a month so we can look at the numbers.
is that all right with David, or does he need to do a mailing on this before that? Do you know, Mark?
No, I think we might be early, but I mean, I don't know.
I know that there's certain timings for everything. So what is the general consensus right now? Everybody's okay. I mean, I heard Arnold say he's okay with the increase to 690. I heard Rose say that she's okay with it.
And Danny says okay.
And Danny's okay with it. So Mark,
Well, we need a motion.
well, you're not necessarily good with it.
I don't really think you should make that decision right now. So you are getting us almost $700 a month. Wait, I think we need more information.
$35 more.
$30 a month increase, Claire.
It's a 30 or
$24.
35.
Without a pool, without anything. I just don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, we just went over the entire budget.
No, I get it. Sure. It's just
We
$35
just went over the
more
whole
a month.
thing, line by line.
$35 more.
From 666 to 690.
$24.
$24.
Oh, $24.
Oh,
Yeah,
I wasn't
someone
happy
said-
with the increases that we've had, but okay. But keep doing.
I mean-
Last increase we had, you were still on the board.
Keep taking care of the property. Keep taking care of everything. You guys are doing a great job.
I
No,
mean, nobody's happy paying more money. Nobody who's happy paying more
About
money?
5.
Nobody.
the reason why it's so high is the insurance rates and all the damage we've had, to be quite honest.
Yeah, if the windows get done, the insurance will drop around 20%. Is what I was told. So
20%.
Yeah, it's a big drop.
It's enormous.
Yeah.
So it'll pay for itself soon.
Absolutely. Yes.
I'm for the increase. Yeah. It's what, it's 666 now? So it's
Yeah,
20.
you know, look, a $24 increase is probably below cost of living increases right now.
Well, that's less than 5%, less than 4%,
right, and cost of living is probably much
5%.
right now. So, I never like to increase. I've fought to keep them as low as possible, but I believe this is as low as possible. And with all the requests that this board has gotten in the past year to do things that we didn't really budget for, I have no problem increasing it a little to hopefully be able to do the things that everybody wants us to do and sometimes
And
expects.
I think, Rob, you all said that if we get the windows done, we can have 20% decrease in insurance. So then we get the windows done, we increase the budget, $24 a month, additional to $690. We get the windows done, we go back to the insurance company, we try to get a reduction of 20%, and that will help fund the other projects. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my adding machine to add.
Did you hear what I said? If that's true,
If
20%. If we increase it, we get the windows done, and if we really can get 20% back, that's huge. And then we hold off on the other projects until we get funded for those from the insurance company reduction. That'll help fund those projects that we want to do.
Our commercial insurance is 61, so 20% would be 12,000.
That's a lot.
12,000 is a lot. I mean, it's almost 1,000 a unit.
It's huge.
So if it's true,
Right. So that's a decrease of maybe $88 a month.
So understanding it's going to go up next year. So yeah, but
It could go down to $600 a month.
Good.
Something like that.
all right.
because we have everything else. You have to have everything hurricane. We have everything done. I understand it, but the windows upstairs. We have the doors. We have the windows in the kitchen. So we should be good.
So if I'm hearing correctly, we'll make a motion, but we'll approve this
We need a motion.
potential budget. Assuming David needs it before the next meeting.
A caveat motion. Yes.
I would say that if he doesn't need an answer before the next meeting, let's float it and think about it a little bit. And maybe we'll have a couple more details at the next meeting, like on our wish list. I think we should probably ask to get some painting bids so we have some idea of what it's going to cost. And we'll ask, just for giggles, WSV to just update their window numbers. So I'll put the motion on the floor, as I just kind of said, to I guess accept the 690 second round budget as a preliminary budget, not to be mailed before next meeting if possible. Okay. Second.
I'll second that.
Okay. And all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to write that, to accept 690, but not to send it to the,
I would write it as it was a contingent vote based on Palmer's needs of the date they need it by. Although I think it's a high likelihood it's going to stand as is. But
Yeah, I don't think we'll change it again. I mean, the only place we're going is up from there. We're not going down. And I think we made enough up. Our one constituent didn't have very good comments. Okay. Anybody else want to bring any other new business up before?
I do.
Shoot.
Two things. First thing is, I went to my unit and I understand that WSV said they fixed everything on the punch list. And my front door still has a gap to the outside, so that wasn't fixed. And the second thing is, remember when I spoke to you about the gaps between my baseboard and the tile? And you said, yes, that should be fixed by WSV. And then Misty spoke to you.
So I kind of got caught in the middle of something there that I would have not rather been in the middle of. What my point was, and what I told Misty and you, was if there was no gaps before the flood, there should be no gaps after the flood. I don't know the situation. I know in my unit, I did have a corner round on one wall to cover the gap on the tile.
Okay, that doesn't, what I'm just saying is, this is what she texted back to me that you said. She says, he said, if it has to be, he never said it has to be done one way or the other.
And that is kind of true. I didn't say it had to be done. What I said was, if there was a gap there, if there was no gap before, there should be no gap in the future. You said everybody's going to be happy. I said, I don't want to see a gap in my place either. I have not put eyes on it. I don't even know what you're all talking about. And she said, well, I haven't put my eyes on it either. And that was the end of the conversation.
Okay.
So
All right. So I sent her pictures of all the gaps, which are pretty sizable, and I got no response. But this is the second thing that I brought this up at the last meeting. I called the permit office. They still have not approved the permits. And they are still on hold for the same reason. Their general liability is lapsed. It is not current. Their plumbing sub still has not registered with the city. When those two things are taken care of, the inspector will fail them, because they did not, one of the reasons we're going to be failed is because they did not call for the 3 inspections required for installing the hurricane windows and doors. And the inspector will probably require WSV to cut holes in the walls. And he said that the unit owners really can't sell their units until these permits are closed out.
well, hopefully we don't have anybody selling anytime soon. Permits are their issue. I'm not overly concerned.
I
Fortunately,
am.
Well, it is a problem. You're the
fortunately,
president. You need to make sure.
fortunately, don't tell me what I need to do, please. Fortunately, we're in control of the pocketbook and we have money, not just the permit money that's agreed upon holding back. We have substantial amounts of their money. Then if it's a permit issue, so be it. I mean, anybody trying to sell with an open permit is going to have somewhat of an issue. I'm not saying it won't sell because it's under permit, or maybe not. I mean,
We haven't gotten any inspections except for, I believe,
and from
the
what I
electrical
was
inspection.
told, they do their own inspections, which is permitted, and they have it all documented. again, I'm not overly concerned because it's in our paperwork that they're responsible for the permits, not us. It's
It's a problem.
it seems like it's a growing problem. And yeah, they should be contacted. I mean, again, it's unfortunate David's not on the call today because, quite honestly, Palmer Management should be keeping up with their paperwork. They were supposed to have submitted all of their paperwork before they started the job. We put in the contracts that everybody had to be covered by workman's comp that was a direct employee of theirs. So, I mean, we covered ourselves in the paperwork leading up to it. And, you know, if their liability is not paid up, it's probably better they're not on our job site. So, yes, it needs to be followed through on.
By Palmer?
Yes.
Well, by us as a board and Palmer. I mean, look, best way to get rid of a president is start telling him what he has to do when he's up in New York. And, you know, what am I going to do? I'm a fucking sprinkler guy. I'm not fighting these people.
No, but
Missing
they-
your,
Not what I'm here for.
Yeah, Palmer should send a letter to them and say, where are your permits?
So we have,
we have a couple units for sale right now, up for sale,
well,
and they're going to potentially have,
potentially have an issue. Potentially. We don't know for sure. And, you know, I'm not going to lose more of my hair over potentials. We'll contact Palmer to find out what's going on, write a formal letter.
Yeah, David mentioned last time that when it started, their permits were up to date. Is what I mean, their insurances and all. So I think he should just reach out and ask to send a new one. So then when they can't, then he can move forward with whatever's got to be done.
Request certificates of insurance.
and the plumbing subs registration with the city.
Well,
Because that's what's holding up the permits. They're not approving the permits. He ought to just ask for the approved permits from them.
mm,
That's all I have.
I think that's all we can do until we get that answer. So we certainly don't know anything. I'm in Los Angeles right now. So
all right. Anybody else have any new business they want to bring before the board? Okay. That said, the
The
next
next
regular,
other business, next meeting would be Friday, November 7th.
that work for everybody?
let me look real fast. I think so. Yep, that's cool with me.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Y'all have a good one.
Month.